This is my ultimate outpost build, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how to build it step by step. But before I get started, let me give you a quick tour so you know what to expect. The build consists of 3 structures and this open courtyard area, and I'll just give you a quick tour around each structure, starting with this one on the left. In this structure is all the workstations that you'll need on a sort of day-to-day basis. We've got the workbench, the forge, the black forge, and the golder table in each of the 4 corners. And on the back wall we've got 12 reinforced chests for plenty of storage and easy access for these workstations. Coming back out the build, and on this main structure at the back we have a maximum comfort room. So you can see here we've got the armor stand, round table, hot tub, hearth, throne, rugs and banners. And we've got 2 dragon beds on the side for yourself and a friend, with personal storage underneath each bed for your own personal items. And in the final structure we have a kitchen area. So we have the cauldron at maximum level, we've got a hearth, we've got some cooking stations, we've got 2 ovens and the other workstations which you don't really use as often. So we've got the stone cutter here and also the artisan table. Again, we've got another 12 reinforced chests here for all your food and storage needs. Coming back out we have this little courtyard area with the tree in the middle and 4 portals going around the outside. And in between these smaller structures and the larger structures we have these little nooks filled with fermenters. At the front of the outpost we've got plenty of room for whatever you need. Right now I've got a blast furnace, 2 kilns and a regular furnace set up on the side next to the workstation house. And on the opposite side I've got a small array of beehives. So now that you know what to expect, let's get into the build part of the video. Start off by building a 10 by 10 square foundation with stone floors, then go around the inside of the foundation doubling up the thickness. If you've done it correctly, you should have a foundation like this one. There will be more foundations placed down as we go throughout this build, but this initial square just kind of gives us an initial understanding of the layout of the build. On what you decide to be the left hand side of the build, we're going to need to get some more stone foundations, and we'll place down a rectangle that's 6 long and 4 deep. And then we need to place down 2 at the back for the hearth. We'll place 2 on the right hand side here for the storage, and then we are going to have fermenters just outside the build here and here. Additionally, the hearth is slightly wider than the stone floors, so I'm just going to add a stone wall 2x1 on the back of either side like this, so that when I place the hearth in, it has a perfect foundation at the back here. So there's multiple ways you can actually build this structure. I'm going to just try and break it down in the simplest way I can for you to recreate it, so that's going to be with the least amount of steps. So in each of the original 6x4 corners, place down a darkwood pole 4 meter. And then with the darkwood beam, connect all of these columns until you have something that looks like this. From here we can start to build up the walls. This back wall is going to be stone, so grab your stone wall 2x1, and depending on how high or low your ground is, you might also just need to place a stone wall piece at the foundation level just to make sure that it's properly secured to the ground. So go all the way around the back of your hearth and back in towards the foundations that you placed earlier. Wrap this around the first stone floor 2x2, so you're coming around and then you start to protrude out. And you want to do this on both sides. From here you can just stagger the pieces upwards until you have a wall that reaches the beam at the top here. Once you're done, it should look like this. You can place some wood into the hearth for a little bit of light, and then we'll grab this stone arch and place it down on the 3rd level, which means that we can just place a stone wall 2x1 across the top like this. Now the rest of the walls are going to be wood walls, so I'm going to start off with the wood wall half. I'm going to leave these 2 at the front of the build open for the entrance, and follow this all the way around the rest of the structure like this. We'll then come back with the wood wall. We're going to leave these 2 open now for windows. Of course we'll leave the entrance open, windows on the other side of the entrance, and I'm also going to leave this space open for a window as well. So we will need to start supporting these upper pieces, so I'm going to put the window in now using the carved darkwood dividers, and I'm just going to alternate the order of these so that it looks a little bit nicer as windows. And now that we have these support pieces in, we can come back along with the wood wall half and fill in the top like this. For this section for the storage, I'm actually going to use a wood wall 26 degree, and this is going to be the first roof pieces of the build with the shingle roof 26 degree across the top of the storage. And then with the wood wall half, we're just going to go along the top like this, because I actually only want to have 3 shelves in here for storage instead of 4. For the entrance, I'm going to place a wood wall 1x1 just to slot in this wood wall half in the right place. So basically I want it so that the wall is dividing up these pieces in the middle like this. This 1x1 is actually just used for the snapping location, so we can get rid of that afterwards. And we'll do the exact same on the other side. We'll put a ceiling above the door using the wood floor 2x2, and then we can just frame off the edges. Do the same around the windows. And we'll also place a dark wood beam 2 meter just on either side of the door like this. On the inside, I don't really like the transition from stone to wood, so I want to place some sort of divider there with the dark wood pole. And then again, we'll go around the door frame, we'll create a little bit of a divider for the storage, and we'll continue this line of dark wood all the way around like this. Now the stone is actually going to continue around the back of there, but I'm just going to place in the wood wall half just to sort of cut off the storage. And then for the storage, I'm going to place in 3 shelves using the wood floor 2x2, and I'm even going to place one on the bottom because I want to use that as an indicator for me to place my reinforced chests. When you're placing in your reinforced chests, you want to start from the top down, because if you start from the bottom up, you're going to come into issues where the lid of the reinforced chest is actually protruding through the floor. So I'm going to place 4 on each level. You could probably squeeze 5 in, but it might not look as nice. So I'm going to go for the 4. I think 4 should be plenty anyway. And the reason that I placed down the wood shelves on the bottom is just because I'm using these lines just to give myself a bit of indication where to place these reinforced chests. So that when I'm done, they all look pretty equal. And I'll place down dark wood beam 4 meters along each level just to separate them ever so slightly like this. And then on the outside, we need to place down the wood wall halves just to make this little nook for the fermenters. The roof will be a shingle roof eye corner connected here, and then a shingle roof 26 degree and a wood wall 26 degree like this. Again, I'm going to trim this all off with the dark wood beam 4 meters. So you have a choice here. You can just create a little shelf for the fermenters like this, or similarly to what we did inside, you can place down reinforced chests under here for things like your meat. And if you like, you can just place in your fermenters now. It doesn't really make too much difference to the build. Moving on to the roof, place down a wood beam 1 meter in each corner. Connect the space in between them using wood floor 1x1s. I like to place the wood beam 1 meters at the back of the structure too, even though this part's secured by the stone walls. And then on both sides of the build, we need to do this specific pattern. Starting with the wood beam 26, we'll have a wood beam 2 meter running along the front. Another wood beam 26 degree. Roof cross 26 degree on the top, and then just for a bit of decoration, we're going to use the wood pole 2 meters and the wood pole 1 meter to make this sort of simple truss design like this. Do this on both sides, and then you can grab your shingle roof 26 degree, and you want to kind of overlap it a little bit so it's like this. So then you'll have 2 layers of shingle roof 26 degree and a shingle roof ridge 26 degree along the top. This is what it'll look like with the roof on, and that only leaves us with the roof for the chimney. So with the wood beam 2 meters, go around the outsides. In the outer corners, I'll place down a wood pole 1 meter and connect them with the wood beam 2 meters. I must admit, I can't remember exactly how I had this chimney before, but we're going to work out something that looks nice enough. So let's try and place down a roof ridge 26 degree along this. And we'll bring this back into the structure. And then we can snap a wood pole 1 meter using the top snapping point into the corners here just to support the roof a little bit. And then for decoration, we will trim these edges of the roof with wood beam 26 degrees and a wood roof cross 26 degrees on the top. For consistency, I'm going to trim off the rest of the roof structure like this, and also just bring the dark wood beams around this window just because I forgot earlier. Okay, so that's the left-hand structure done. Now we need to do this exact same build on the opposite side. When you're done, it should look like this. You've got a mirror image of the structure that we built on the left, on the right-hand side now. And I also just filled this up with grass because it was just too ugly to look at. Hopefully you managed to build this okay. If you didn't, just go back and watch the step-by-step instructions that I took you through for this side, and then try and apply it as best you can to this side until you end up with something that looks like this. So now I'm going to show you how I fit in everything that I need to in these two structures, starting off on the one on the left here. But before I get started at all, I'm going to grab my Diverger wall lanterns and just make it a little bit brighter in here so that I can see what I'm doing. So in each corner, I'm going to place down a Diverger wall lantern. At the front of the structure, it's going to be right at the top, and then on the stone part, it's going to be on the third layer of stones like this. Then grab my workbench, place it on the left hand side of the hearth. We'll place a little L-shape shelf with the wood floor 1x1, and then just so we can get up and see what we're doing, little ladder there. We'll grab the workbench improvement, the adze, pop on the top. We'll have another wood shelf here for the chopping block. And again, you can place this wherever you like. If you don't want to put them exactly where I have them, don't worry about it. I'm just showing you how all of the improvements can fit in this space without it being too tight. Got the tanning rack just facing towards the hearth, just because that makes sense to me. We'll have the tool shelf just on the wall here, and that looks like everything. On the right hand side of the hearth, we'll have the forge. So the forge can't go exactly in the middle because we do need to leave some space for the bellows, which will go on the right hand side. And similarly to before, I'm going to create a couple of shelves, so one just above the lantern and one just in the same corner as the chopping block, but on the other side. And then for these ones, I'll have the grinding wheel just on top of the hearth, smith's anvil next to the hearth. The smaller anvils will just go on the shelf here. The same with the forge cooler. And that only leaves the forge tool rack, which can just go up here above the hearth. Part of the reason that I wanted to create this sort of shape for the entrance is it creates two little nooks here which are perfect for putting in workbenches. So on the left hand side of the entrance, I'm going to have the black forge with the black forge cooler just directly underneath it, and the vise can just go up top here. Can't actually reach it, so we need to place in a ladder, but yeah, we can place the vise just up there. Then on the right hand side of the entrance, we'll have the Galder table. The rune table can go just up to the side there, and then the unfading candles, similarly to the vise, but on the other side, just above the door like this. Now, we don't need too much decoration in here because we're going to have a maximum comfort room elsewhere, but I do like to put a little bit of decoration in just to make it look a little bit nicer. So I'm going to grab the Locks rug. You can use whatever rugs you like and just place one underneath each of the workbenches. I feel like it looks a little bit more realistic like this. Take out the ladders. But yeah, I think this is like a perfect size for the majority of the workbenches, and the ones that we don't use as often, or the cooking ones, will be over on the other side. So let's go and start off on this one. So the main thing we need in this structure is all of our cooking stuff. So let's go ahead, grab our cauldron. You can put an iron cooking station sort of up the back like this, but I prefer just to use the regular cooking stations and just sort of layer them up. 3 or 4 should do. I don't know, let's do 3 here. And for the cauldron improvements, we'll have the butcher's table just to the right. Pots and pans can go up on the wall. We'll have the spice rack just above the hearth hanging from the roof. And the mortar and pestle, I always just like to sort of place it on top of the hearth. So something like this will do. You can place it over the front or something like this. Let's do this orientation. Now with the little nooks on this side of the structure, I'm going to place down a couple of the ones you don't really need as often. So a stone cutter, for example, you can place the stone cutter here. And the other one I'm missing is the artisan table. Actually, let's swap this around. So let's put the artisan table next to the storage. Makes a bit more sense. And we'll put the stone cutter on this side. We do need to make a couple of alterations to this build. So let's go ahead and take out these spots here. Place down some stone floors for our foundations. And here we'll place down 2 ovens like this. Now I like to create a kind of window above these ovens, so we'll go ahead, grab our darkwood pole and create this space for it. We'll then have our carved darkwood dividers, and something I've done in the past which I quite like the look of is getting this raven endowment, and we can get it to lock in here. I think that looks really good with the carved wood dividers like this. We need to add in our Diverger wall lantern similarly to the other side. So now we have pretty much all the workstations that we need in this build, and all we need to do now is create a maximum comfort room and somewhere to sleep. Foundation for this building is going to be 10 long, similarly to the big square foundation that we did at the start, and 5 deep. 4, 5. Fill in all this space in the middle of this rectangle. Again, at the back of the structure, we will need 2 stone for 2x2s for the hearth, coupled with 2 stone wall 2x1s. And then what we can do here is, with the stone walls that we built earlier, we can start to take these all the way around the edge of the structure. And it depends really how high you want to bring the stone wall. I'm going to bring the stone wall 2 above the foundation level. So just to this height here, so you can see this is the foundation level. Then we have 2 layers of stone walls. And we'll need to bring the stone wall all the way around the foundation we just lay. And if you place it in the hearth, it'll just make it a little bit more obvious when you're going around this section what you actually need to include. Once you're done, it should look like this. And now you can take the same approach as we did with the other structures, placing in the dark wood poles. Of course, we already have these ones here at the fermenters. One at the back. Connecting these with dark wood beams. And for this one, we'll need to put in some intermediate poles just at the side of the hearth, just so that we can stretch these beams along in the construction phase. And we'll also need to add in some intermediate poles just where the entrance will be. We'll finish off the chimney next. It's going to be the only part of this structure that's actually 4 high with the stones in the first instance. So let's go ahead and make sure that we're taking this 4 high. We've got the stone arch coming across the front of the hearth, and then the stone wall 2x1 on the top. Now to finish off the hearth, we will need to jump up top, and then we will start to taper in the chimney with the stone stairs. We're going to try and sort of overlap the stone wall 2x1 so that we can create a square base going up above and beyond this. And I'm not sure exactly how high I want to go, but we went 4 high on the bottom half, so let's maybe go 4 high here. And then for the roof, we'll do a similar sort of thing as we did previously. So let's go around the outside with the regular wood beams. And if you want your chimney to actually vent smoke, you probably need to make this gap here with wood pole 2 meters. If you make this with the wood pole 1 meter like this, and then you put the wood beam across like this gap is not actually going to be big enough to actually vent smoke. Although the chimney is probably big enough that the smoke will just gather in here and not put your hearth out. So it's up to you. I'm going to do it with the wood pole 2 meters and go all the way around with the wood beam 2 meters. And then we'll grab the shingle roof outside corner and just lock in with the bottom center snapping point. Can create something like that and jump down. I don't know if I love how that looks, so I'm going to just spice it up a bit with the wood beam 45 degree and just sort of create a triangle shape along the top like this. Anyway, once it's done with something that you're happy with, go around with the dark wood pole 4 meters and just tie in the actual structure with the chimney structure. And that includes going around the break between the lower part of the chimney and the top part of the chimney with the dark wood beam 4 meters. Around the rest of the stone walls on top, we're going to put down a wood wall half, and that's going to go all the way around. Do the same at the other side, and then what I also want to do is sort of just create this divide with the dark wood pole 4 meters. Again, this is just kind of decorative. It doesn't really make a difference. If you don't want to do it exactly like this, then don't worry about it. If you're fairly early in the game, you might not want to waste all this tar, but I think it's worth it. I think it makes such a difference to the way that the structure actually looks. So I'm going to place it in. And for the front of the structure, we're going to use a very similar design as to what we've done on the other 2 structures. So it's wood wall halves along the bottom and top. Full wood walls in the middle. And then wherever you decide to put windows, I'm going to put them on either side of the entrance here. We're going to use the dark wood dividers. The entrance is going to be done exactly how we did for the other structures, so it's going to look like this when you're done. And then place down some more beams wherever you feel like you want them. We can now start on the roof, so let's grab the wood floor 1x1, go all the way along the front of the structure. But this time we'll also need to do the back of the structure. Because we haven't taken the stone wall so high, we'll need to come along either side of the chimney like this. And I'm also going to place down the wood beam on the end like we did previously. When you're done, it should look like this. And from here, we can now mark out the frame of the roof. Similar to before, I'm going to use the wood beam 26 degree. We'll have a couple of wood beam 2 meters. And then the wood beam 26 degree. Might just need to be careful with the ordering that you do that. And then we'll be coming up 3 wood beam 26 degrees high. We'll put a cross on the top. And similar to before, we'll place down these wood poles wherever we think it makes sense. Once you're happy with the design, do the exact same on the other side, and then grab your shingle roof 26 degree and just work up, copying that profile like we did earlier. This time each side of the roof will just be the shingle roof 26 degree, and it's going to be 3 layers of that all the way along. And when you're done, it should look like this, remembering to put a wood trim along the edge of the roof pieces just so it looks a little bit nicer. Okay, time to decorate the inside now. What I really like to do in my builds is create some sort of verticality on the inside, so I'm just going to create a sort of raised platform on the right hand side of the structure. It's going to be 5 deep, so the depth of the whole structure. Actually, for this middle piece here, we'll make this wood stairs, and we'll place the wood wall half just underneath. And you kind of have a option here. I'm going to place down dragon beds, so I'm going to place down maybe 2 beds. If you're playing solo, obviously you only need 1. You can leave the space open for something else. But I'm going to place 2 and assume that you at least have 1 other friend that you want to play this with. And then it makes sense to me to have reinforced chests underneath, so create some sort of personal storage for each player. And then you could have the sort of rest of the storage around the base as, I guess, like a mutual storage. Once the chests are in place, you can place down the darkwood beams and poles. And if you've done it how I did it, it should look like this. I'm going to add in some Diverger wall lanterns in the corner, similar to what I did with the other rooms. And then just to kind of match the verticality on the opposite side, I'm going to try and create some sort of hot tub area here. So let's make a 2x2 square and then 1 of the wood floor pieces in each side. We have 2 stairs going up, and we can just barricade all this off with the wood wall halves. Next to the stairs, we can actually make this a wood wall 26 degrees. Let's place the hot tub in just before I forget about it, really. And of course, we need to make some sort of chimney for this, but hopefully this kind of lines up with a roof piece. It looks like maybe this piece would be good to take out. And we can create a very simple chimney with the wood wall 26 degree inverted, and then a wood wall 26 degree regular. And then we can place a shingle roof 26 degree, just connecting those 2 sides like that. And a couple of darkwood beam 2 meters, just to tie off the ends. Okay, so this is all looking good to me, but we need to bring up the comfort level, so let's max comfort level. So we're going to need a stone throne. Let's place 1 on this side of the hot tub. In this little gap here, we can take out this foundation, and if we raise the ground just a little bit, flatten it down a little bit again, we should be able to get a height that kind of works for us to place down a round table like this. Fill this back up with the stone floor foundation, and then I think that's like a perfect little platform to place down an armor stand. I think it looks good with the round table underneath, is kind of like a platform too. Some of the other things we need are banners, so let's add a banner on either side of the hearth just because it seems reasonable. We also need a rug or carpet of some description. And there we have it. The only other things that we need to add for complete maximum comfort is the Yule tree, and hopefully you have a maypole around about that you can use as well. But it's really open design here. It's pretty simple and it's a lot of open space to sort of do what you want with it. So coming outside now, the first thing you need to do before you can make this little courtyard look nice is plant the tree. This is going to take a little bit of time for the tree to actually grow because you can't have anything around it or it's just not going to grow. But I'm basically going to mark out the centre by doing 3 wood beam 2 meters, and then we'll place down the tree in the centre there. And if we then remove those beams, you should see that the birch sapling is healthy. Now once it's grown, you're going to come back with the stone floor 2x2, place 1 down in front of each section of the entrances, stone stairs in front of that. And then you can place down whatever you want in here. Beehives are pretty good in here. You can place down a little beehive here. What I like to do is use the portals. So I'll place 1 down in each corner. And I know that a lot of people would think that 4 portals is not enough, and it probably isn't, but one of these portals could take you off sort of to like a portal room, portal house or something like that. From here, let's place down some stone floor 2x2s down to the entrance. We're going to come a further 7 down. And then just in front of the entrance, we'll have a line of 4, 2 coming out at either side, and then the stone stair just here like this. Then from the side of the structure here, where we sort of tied off the stone wall, we'll come all the way down until we meet this line of stone foundations here. The exact same on the opposite side, and then we can go ahead and fill all this space in just with the stone floor 2x2 foundations. From here, we can take the stone wall 2x1 that we started earlier, and we're just going to take it all the way around the structure. You can make it as high as you like. I'm going to keep it probably 3 or 4 high. And then at the entrance here, when we place down the darkwood gate, I could build it up just a little bit higher so that I can then place down stone arches on either side, stone stairs on the top, and then a couple of stone wall 2x1s. So then this leaves me with plenty of space for charcoal kiln here and here. We'll have a smelter just in the middle here. Or depending what stage of the game you're at, you could put a blast furnace here, and then you can have like your item refinery over on this side. It really just depends. This area is quite open. What I might do right now is just use this section as a sort of little beehive. If you made it this far, you now know how to build my ultimate outpost build. If you want to keep seeing more content like this, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support me and my efforts. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.